Okay, everybody, it is me again, Gregory Mannarino, back for this post-market wrap-up. What a day. Very, very strange. And we're going to talk about this because I just don't believe what I'm seeing is actually what I am seeing. Hold that thought. So yeah, post-market wrap-up on this Monday, March 1st, 2021. First of all, right off the bat, let me just say thank you to every single one of you who said, hey, you know what? Greg is all right. I'm going to support his work. And some of you did do that. And, it wasn't a lot. Wasn't a lot of you. But still, it makes me happy. Feels like I'm doing a good job. Anyway, all right, with that said, did you catch me on Alex Jones just a little while ago? I think the show went well. I like being on the show. We do see eye to eye on a few things. Anyway, with that said, people, let me start off with this. Today, we witnessed something very, very strange. In fact, so strange that I don't believe that what I am actually seeing is real. I know that sounds kind of profound, but it's true. The 10-year yield today, all day, barely moved. Barely moved. Almost like a flat line all day. Now, this is in stark contrast to what we've seen lately. So what I'm getting at here is I believe, sincerely, there's only one way, that this could have happened. And that is that the Federal Reserve has indeed finally done it. Yield curve control. They're probably targeting the 10-year yield specifically. You all know how important it is to follow the 10-year yield. It's the benchmark. Everybody follows the 10-year yield. What happened when we watched the 10-year yield spike? This market fell 1,000 points in 2 days. What happened today? Keep that 10-year yield stable. Big stock market rally. What did we finish up? About 600 or 700 points? I don't know, something around there. Big rally on Wall Street solely because the 10-year yield stabilized. Ironically, yesterday, when I did my markets a look ahead segment, I said, people, it would not surprise me to see the 10-year yield stabilize, but I had no idea it would be as stable as it was today. In my view, the Federal Reserve has now begun yield curve control. They're probably just targeting the 10-year yield. Could be more. Okay, how do they do this? The Federal Reserve says, okay, we want to keep the 10-year yield at 1.43. The danger zone, if you were paying attention here, is about 1.5. When we hit 1.6, this market was cratering. The Federal Reserve seems to be involved right now in yield curve control. You're trying to tell me that 10-year yield stayed in that range like that just by coincidence? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. They're probably testing it. They want to see how it works, and it worked beautiful. By keeping the 10-year yield stable, nice rally on Wall Street. What else would you expect? The central banks of the world, none more so than the Federal Reserve, they're buying it all, people. They're taking over the entire world. You don't look anywhere else other than the Federal Reserve to understand who's running the world. They are running the entire freak show world. Period. The freaking end. Anyway, I found that baffling today, and I'm sure a lot of you did too, because I put this out on Twitter and Facebook, and people were writing back to me. They're like, Greg, I can't believe what I'm seeing either. So, I'm glad to know that it's not just me. All right. I watched that 10-year yield all day long, all night long. In fact, everything I do pretty much revolves around that 10-year yield. So when I see the 10-year yield do what it did today, bing, 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 alarms all over the place. This is the Fed. The Fed's instituting yield curve control. There's no other way that I can figure that the 10-year yield would remain basically flat all day. Okay. The dollar did get a little stronger today. It didn't matter. It was really about that 10-year yield. Even crude oil reversed. Crude oil was higher. Crude oil ended lower. Still, the market loved it. 10-year yield stable. Again, this just goes to show you how important it is to watch the 10-year yield. People, and it's right on my website for you, traderschoice.net, top of the second page. Just go have a look at my website. Take advantage of the free downloads. They're free. There's all kinds of free things on my website for you. There's a link in the description of this video. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies bid higher pretty much across the board. Now, I explained to you, we had a significant sell-off here in Bitcoin, which is the granddaddy of them all. And I address Bitcoin because it seems that wherever Bitcoin goes, the other cryptocurrencies kind of follow. It's like their mommy or their daddy or something along those lines. So Bitcoin put on a gain. It was consolidating for a little while. It may still consolidate here, but I do believe, people, it's going higher. Cryptocurrencies are going higher. New record highs with regard to Bitcoin are in the cards. Unless, again, some kind of massive regulatory process is put into effect, there's nothing holding Bitcoin and the big cryptos down. They're being bought up by the banks, the investment banks. They're being bought up by hedge funds. They're being bought up by corporations, people. So when I hear people yet again saying it's going to zero, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, I just start laughing. I really do. Gold today fell under a little pressure. Why? Because of that stronger dollar. Silver put on a little gain. I already told you what happened to crude oil. All right, lovely. What else happened today other than this astonishing 10-year yield? Just something going on there, people. But we heard from the Federal Reserve today. Federal Reserve President Brainerd, more specifically, and she came out saying, well, the pandemic, she can't say scamdemic because she knows it's a scam. The pandemic has revealed some flaws in the financial system, and she said the Federal Reserve needs to issue more stimulus, more debt. Let me ask you this while we're talking. Do you believe there will ever be a time, ever, when a central bank or a Federal Reserve president will say, oh, no, let's not issue any more debt? In my view, it will never happen. Their goal is to inflate people. I'm going to urge you yet again to just go look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. Open up a new window, search engine, whichever one you want to use, Federal Reserve balance sheet. You will not believe your eyeballs. As a matter of fact, today, when I was on the Alex Jones show, he actually put up a snapshot of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. It's mind-numbing what they are doing. But you have to understand, this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. People, they shut down the global economy by design to kill the economy so central banks could inflate. Henceforth, why the Federal Reserve's balance sheet nearly doubled. It's at $8 trillion. It pretty much doubled in the last year to date. Okay, it's utterly insane what we're seeing, but that is going to continue. And not only is it going to continue, it's going to get exponentially worse. You have to understand, and I know you get it, but let me cover this again real quick. We are in a full-blown debt crisis. We are in a full-blown currency crisis, but you're not supposed to know that. The Fed must print at an epic pace, an ever increasing epic pace, just to maintain where we are. The moment this process stops, we implode. We implode, the debt market implodes, the stock market explodes, and we end up in Mad Max. We end up in, again, the new paradigm that I've been warning about for the longest time. The Federal Reserve today is in the act of tearing down the current system only to issue in a new one. You understand? I think you got it. But the mechanism here of bringing down the old system is going to end in a big, fat, ugly bang. People are going to be left walking through the streets like zombies when this thing eventually becomes realized. Again, this is a setup to destroy whatever's here now to bring in a new system, a wipeout of people that are stuck on the long side of this market, that are in a 401k plan or something like that only make money when the market goes up. You have a target on your face, and you cannot get it off by design. All right, so anyway, in summary here, people, very suspicious to me, this 10-year yield not moving. It's not natural after what we've just witnessed. The only solution that I can think of is the Federal Reserve has begun yield curve control, at least with the 10-year yield. Let's keep our eyes on this, okay? It's not normal to have all that volatility in the 10-year yield to then nothing. Does that make sense to you? I want to hear from you. Please let me know. All right, people, that's it. I'm gonna let you all go. I'll see you in the morning. Please share the video.